In France, peasants were the lowest rungs in the social ladder. Peasants endured a long list of inequalities which made them the most overburdened class in France. Below the bourgeoisie in the social class rankings, peasants had to pay the taille, or the unfair land tax. Many owned land during the mid-1700s and were singled out discriminatively in regards to tax requirements. Landlords had power over the peasants as well as churches, but to a lesser degree. As the living standard increased due to the decreased mortality rate and population began to increase, many peasants and bourgeoisie fought to improve education as well as ending feudalism for good. This revolution is otherwise known as the French Revolution, a turning point in French history. In 18th century England, many changes occurred in peasant life. A major change was the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution caused for rural areas like the country to become more industrialized. Factories began to sprout all throughout England. Peasants would move away from a more farm-like area to an industrialized city area. Many British laborers would be replaced with machinery. The populations within the cities of England would largely increase. In only a few years, the population in Manchester would increase from 17,000 to 180,000. The Industrial Revolution and slave trade made England very rich. As a result of the slave trade and the massive profits for individual Englishmen from the West Indies and India, the mercantile class in England experienced a sharp increase in wealth and began investing in land and peerages. During the Industrial Revolution, England had mass-produced goods and sold and traded with many foreign countries. Due to a new law called the Penal Code, which is a heavy form of state punishment, peasants' life altered. The Penal Code, or the Bloody Code, strictly enforced peasant life and made the peasants praise crimes and robbers. Another law that changed peasant life would be the game laws. The game law was the law stating that game hunted by English peasants would belong to the king. This restricted hunting for personal usage, and then people would have to purchase food. Peasant life had a large change due to an industrial revolution and would have a major impact on the times to come. Another large thing that changed peasant life would be the American Revolution. The American Revolution had let the citizens of England who had different views be able to break away from the English society and join off to a new free land. Germany's peasant population suffered the most as they lived under many strict laws. Peasants in eastern Germany were bound to the lord's estate, had to provide labor services on the lord's land, and could not marry or move without the permission and payment of a tax. In the rural regions of Germany, the nature of dependency differed for free peasants and serfs. Nobles attempted to use the authority of existing aristocracy to control provincial institution against the power of the monarchies Diets in Germany and the Habsburg Empire. This was otherwise known as the aristocratic resurgence. First, nobilities tried to preserve their exclusiveness by making it more difficult to become a noble. Second, they pushed to reserve appointments for the officer corps of the armies, the senior posts in the bureaucracies and German ministries, and the upper rank of the church exclusively for nobles. By doing this, they hoped to resist encroaching power of the monarchies. Finally, the nobility sought to improve its financial position by gaining further exemptions from taxation or by collecting higher rents or long-forgotten feudal dues from the peasantry. The nobility tried to share up its positions by various appeals to traditional and often ancient privileges that had lapsed over time. In the 18th century, Spanish ruler King Carlos left the Kingdom of Spain to a Frenchman named Philip of Anjou, which created an alliance between Spain and France. Spanish peasants were affected due to the fact that a foreign ruler who didn't share their customs or traditions was now the new monarch. Though King Philip did strengthen the Spanish monarchy, it was bad for peasants because they have even less input due to an absolute monarch being in power. Another significant change that was the various regions of Spain were integrated into a single state, causing a diffusion of different cultures and people. In 1701, the War of the Spanish Succession began between Austria and France. This had a large impact on peasants, though it wasn't fought in Spain, because this war would dictate whom their new ruler could be and if they would have another foreign monarch. There were poor harvests between 1708 and 1711, and in 1763 to 1766, which had a huge impact for peasants. These poor harvest years meant less money for farmers and a decrease in food supply, leading to a price increase for crops. So life became even harder for the peasants to sustain their families. Population, trade, commerce increased during the century, leading to Enlightenment ideas reaching Spain. New common people had more access to new ideas, not just the bourgeoisie. In this period, there was also a break from religious intolerance